Can I ask you a question, Joe?
Yeah.
Like, what about a band makes you grow out of
I don't know.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of Innersleeve here on SoundMojo. I am joined today by Joe Pacheco. Joe, how are we doing?
Excellent, my friend. How are you doing?
Very good. Always nice to hear your voice. Once again, we are short-staffed. Unfortunately, I'm speaking to all the listeners here, of course. Cassius is away, taking a bit more time away from work and from screens because we mentioned on a few episodes ago he was absent because of a concussion. Those symptoms kind of returned, so we just told him,
they snuck back in, man.
They snuck back, so we said the second he told us, you know what, take the time you need. It's very serious. So he's, I guess, taking more time off, and we'll see him in a bit. But that doesn't mean the show ends. Joe and I, we've got.
Sorry, I keep cutting you off, but it's best to be safe than sorry with these type of things. You don't know. It's different for everybody. So
absolutely, yeah, no, it's different for. That's right. It's different for everyone. They're serious regardless of who it is, and you know, the second he says he's not feeling 100%, we're like, go take your time and make sure you know you feel 100% again. So that's what is most important. But moving on, what we've got upcoming for you on today's episode is Brittney Slayes. That is our guest today of Unleash the Archers, a Canadian band. You'll see her and Cassius chatting it up later in the episode. Joe, I know you had a few quick thoughts. Yeah.
Well, yeah, this Canadian power metal band. We came across our feed, like, we get presented all these like releases and stuff, and it came across our feed. And what I found interesting was that they had just finished winning a Juno for like, what was it? I actually wrote it here. Yeah, basically for, Metal and Hard Music Album of the Year 2021 at the Canadian Juno. For those who don't know what the Junos are, it's basically the Canadian version of the Grammys.
So a very reputable and credible award, and high praise to them for winning that. So we will bring you that interview in just a few moments. I wanted to check off a few more things from our checklist here. One thing we brought up on last week's episode, want to bring it up again, is this, Joe. Very beautiful merch that we've got running on the channel now. We've got hoodies, crew necks, t-shirts, all that good stuff. The links are down in the description below. If you want to support the channel, become kind of like a family member. We're building a community here on the channel, and we want everyone to feel, comfy and open to discuss anything with us. And if you want to rep our logo on a hoodie, that would be awesome as well. You could check the description down below, and I'm sure those links will be there for you.
Yep.
Another thing we've been doing for a few weeks now, trying to push this to our audience, is the community tab, right? We're very active on that. We want to engage with you guys. And we've actually been seeing a good amount of engagement and responses and interesting thoughts on our last few, community tab polls. Joe, I know you're like the wizard behind all this. You want to give us a bit of info on that?
Yeah, actually, let me just get my screen up here because I have way too many tabs.
No, it's all good. Like what we do is essentially, we put a plan in motion saying we want to just ask you guys random off the wall music related questions and see where your opinions lie. I remember one wasn't necessarily music related, but which celebrity death resonated with you the most? I know my personal answer was Robin Williams. Joe, which one was yours?
Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, yes, Eddie,
sure.
Of course.
Yeah, and speaking of deaths, we'd be remiss not to mention Charlie Watts passing this week, another seminal legend. I don't think anybody looked as good doing what he did for the Rolling Stones, and that, just his chill nature of playing drums with a smile. I mean, the guy's he's been there for, 60 years? So he died,
and 80 years old, passed away on Tuesday, the sad news. And what I was reading is that they were actually, he had a surgery that went to plan, but he was kind of removed from their tour, their No Filter tour, right? The Rolling Stones were planning on stuff.
Yeah.
If you can imagine, the Rolling Stones were still planning to do a tour of U.S. stadiums, and he had a surgery. Things apparently went correctly in the surgery, but, look, when you get up into the 80s and whatnot, the body isn't the same. And, of course, our thoughts go out to the family. And of course, rest in peace to Mr. Charlie Watts. Joe, did that strike a chord with you?
Well, I love all these musicians. They're legendary. They set the path for everything we've been doing, right? So for sure, mad respect to them. I'm not a huge Rolling Stones fan, but I mean,
You still got to respect the name and what they built. Exactly.
Yeah, like I said, like no one did it like him in the sense of how he did it, how he was dapper, always nicely dressed, very chill, very like, calm. And like most drummers, I mean, Charlie is the heartbeat of the Rolling Stones, so well said. That's what kept it going. So I just wonder, like, and I know it's too soon to know, but I wonder, like, were they going to replace him on that tour? They were still going to go ahead?
I don't know.
And I wonder now if are they still going to continue? Like Rush, right? Neil Peart died, and like the band pretty much that's done, right? But like with the Stones, I don't know. Like I wonder.
Well, with considering their age and where they're at and their storied career, maybe this is like one of those defining moments where a light bulb just goes off, and it's like, oh, maybe this is it. Who knows? Who really knows? Well, we'll have to wait and see as the news develops. One thing now, yes, exactly. Well, I think you're gonna get to it. Yeah, go.
What was it? No. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say let's bring on the trivia.
Well, yeah, no, actually, just before, I'd like to just go over some of these SoundMojo, the community tabs, some of the polls. I found them very interesting. Like here, last week we put up the most overrated album of all time is, and I put like purposely the ones that are gonna hurt. Like Sgt. Pepper's is my favorite, like Beatles record, but I put it up there. I put Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller, Pet Sounds from the Beach Boys, Nevermind by Nirvana, and Nevermind the Bullocks, and like. Interestingly enough, we got 54 votes. It's not huge, but I mean, out of that, we got Thriller, got the highest number of most overrated at 37%, which with Sgt. Pepper's at a close 28. So that was just like an eye opener for me, to see like of all the seminal albums, like for sure, some people are just tired of it, or like fed up or think it's overrated, right?
We'd love to see more of you guys answer these things. We're trying to build them on a daily, weekly basis. And for those on the audio listening platforms, if you're not necessarily, if you just found our show through that, and not through YouTube, check out the YouTube channel. Come on down, make your presence known, and respond to some of these questions and polls we've got running on a daily basis.
Yes, like that's it. So I'll put them on like the SoundMojo community tab on YouTube, but I also do the same thing on Twitter just to gauge the audience from there. Interestingly enough, just yesterday I posted, what is your primary source for discovering new artists or music? So like, there's radio, streaming, social recommendations from someone or TV or movies, because those are like big. If you get placed in a Netflix, a lot of people get discovered on movies. For me, it's personally, I had put streaming services right now is pretty much where I like to discover. I actually like to go on Spotify's Discovery tab and just like, it bases that based on what I listen to, and I love it. Yeah, I love it because like I find like my latest find is like this Finnish band that does like this fusion jazz, like just crazy music in Finnish. I don't even understand what they're saying, but it's so good, So and that's what I love. I love about that. So that's what I like about today's kind of thing, where it's like it's wide open. You can listen to, like today we're talking about Canadian power metal, right? I'm a power metal fan too, So it's like, and then you have like this crazy jazz fusion-y stuff, from other countries. So on Twitter it was similar. Streaming obviously got the most votes at 55%, and on our community tab we actually got social media beating out. So YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I put
TikTok's huge. Yeah, I get that one. Yeah.
I don't listen to radio anymore because I don't drive to work. I'm working from home and all that stuff. And plus, honestly, Montreal radio sometimes is like, it lacks. I put TikTok there because I noticed that when I did listen to radio, a lot of the stuff you hear on radio is what's been blowing up on TikTok. So TikTok is pretty much becoming the place,
to discover the music. The beacon for new music. That's good. All right, interesting. Yeah,
that's it.
All right, that's it. So let's get into the trivia, Joe. The past couple of weeks I've been presenting my trivia questions to either Joe and Cassius. Now it's Joe's turn to give me some.
Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Hit me with your best shot.
Right. So I'll start with what I consider an easy one. All right?
Oh wait, Joe. Let me just preface this by saying this isn't going to go well. This is not going to go well. All right, I'm horrible with trivia in general, and music is just even further down that list. So let's get to this. Let's get this over with.
I didn't go with any metal bands. There's one little metal band kind of question. But anyway, okay. Number one, how many strings are there on a standard violin? This is the easy one, I think.
Oh boy,
a standard violin.
I want to say 4.
Nailed it. You
really?
Nailed it. Yeah.
Really?
4.
Okay, good.
Very good.
All right. 1 for 1.
All right. So the metal question would be, which country has the highest concentration of metal bands? So it could be any.
I like this
country.
question.
Yeah.
Of metal, like oh god,
like the majority of their artists are metal, not pop. I mean, obviously everybody's got pop, like I just said, you know, some bands, whatever, but some countries. But like,
which country has the highest percentage? You said.
Yeah, concentration.
Oh,
like per 1,000 people, like this country has like the highest concentration of metal bands. Nope. You want to try again?
Maybe.
One more. I'll give you a guess.
One more. Jeez.
I know how you feel, bro. I know how you feel. I suck at trivia too.
Okay, well, I mean, I feel like if you give me this question, it cannot be just the States. Like that's just it's so huge.
Eliminate the States. Let's stick to Europe.
Okay, so I wasn't completely off in global geography with England.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Let's man, this is stuff. I want to make this relatively quick, so let's go with.
Can we put Jeopardy music in the back?
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that'd be good. Add even more pressure to me. Sweden.
That would have been my guess, honestly. But it's not. But it's probably not far. I don't have statistics, but Finland.
Oh wow! Okay, so Scandinavian.
Scandinavian. The country has 56.7 bands for every 1,000 people. Think about that. So it's what, like 50,000 metal bands or something.
Wow, that is nuts. Okay.
Here's something that you may be a bit more familiar with, which would be which rapper holds the world record for the most words per minute?
Busta Rhymes?
Man, that would have been my initial guess too, because that guy is fast. But no, someone beat him out. I don't know what Busta Rhymes per minute, per second actually.
Oh, it's per
per
minute.
No, here it's words per minute, but I have the answer in seconds.
Wow.
They have the. This guy has the.
And they're still alive?
Yeah, Guinness World Record for like the fastest rapper, most words per minute.
I can't. I know Eminem's quick with his word,
there
but
you go. That's
it is
Eminem. Yeah,
okay,
Eminem,
good. Excellent.
Eminem holds the record with 7.5 words per second.
Wow.
Second, bro. And then Nicki Minaj apparently 6.5 words per second. So Busta Rhymes, man, if he's not even on that list, like he's like crazy fast. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right, let's see, because I have a few more, but like I don't want to take up too much.
We're at three. So I'm two for three. So give me 5. Give me 2 more.
All right. Okay, this is a recent one. Okay, what is the longest running song on Billboard? Meaning having the #1 spot. In terms of, you know, how long was it at #1? I'll give you a
Is it
clue,
Despacito?
Maybe. No.
Okay.
But like how many weeks did it stay on, consecutive weeks did it stay on?
Not the actual song you're looking for. You're just looking for the amount of time it was there.
The song. No, the song.
Oh, the song.
Yeah.
Is it something Taylor Swift?
Nope. But around that era, like now, it's an artist that's now. But this happened, let's say, 2 summers ago, 2019. What was the biggest song of 2019? Well, biggest.
Pop Star by Drake or whatever?
No.
I feel like those are too vulgar to hit. Yeah, give it to me.
Or am I can't read where I am, but it's basically Old Town Road.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Remember
that was huge. Of course.
17
Lil Nas.
consecutive weeks.
Oh, Lil Nas and Billy Ray.
Yeah.
Right?
17. They beat out to Mariah Carey, I believe, for the record.
Jeez.
Okay, final one. Let's see. Okay, I'll give you a Billie Eilish question.
Okay.
What TV show inspired Billie Eilish's first song? Now, I don't even know what her first song is, to be honest. But here's the multiple choice. Here's the multiple choice.
Oh, okay.
Supernatural, The Walking Dead, South Park, American Horror Story.
So I have a 25% chance here.
So, Supernatural, Walking Dead, South Park, or American Horror Story? What inspired Billie Eilish's first song?
Supernatural. Okay.
The Walking Dead. I actually got that one, but it was a total just like, let's hit it.
It was a fluke guess.
Random.
All right,
The Walking Dead. Yeah, apparently my first real song was the Zombie Apocalypse. Actually, she told in an interview.
Okay, so that makes sense. If I would have actually known it, that would have made more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been actually a very easy answer if I would have known that song, because Zombie Apocalypse, Walking Dead makes sense.
Exactly. It's hard to put when you're on the spot. You know, like it's
of
like
course.
So much knowledge.
Unless you're just a true like your brain, and plus the brain freezes a little bit. Whatever. We're only human. Right. Next week I'll get you back. So I'll put some trivia questions for you.
Awesome.
Moving on.
If any of the listeners if you throw them down in the, we'll be able to research them. But
that's true.
We'll be good. If you want to throw in some questions, we'll be good. We won't research them, and we'll save them for the show.
Or just some fun facts. That's fine too.
That's good too. Yeah.
Without any further delay, though, Joe, I think we've completed the first half of the show. Let's get into our interview with Brittney Slayes of Unleash the Archers.
We're back on Innersleeve with yet another incredible guest. Very happy to be joined by Juno Award-winning artist Brittney Slayes. Brittney, how's it going?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Hey, fantastic. Now, how does it feel, the Juno-winning artist? I mean, I'm sure it may be setting in by now.
No.
No? Okay, fair enough.
It still feels pretty incredible, actually. I was actually just doing my makeup this morning and then thinking about that day when we were just hanging out on Twitch and doing the Juno stream and still can't believe that we won. It's like a weird dream that kind of is, I don't know, a weird faraway place, because it all happened so quickly, and it was really intense because we were just like in all these Zoom calls and it was like, okay, it's happening. And we all like squish in together on the couch to try and fit into the frame. And then it was just like, it's happening. Oh, it's us. Oh my God, do your speech. Then it's over. And it's just kind of like, and sometimes it still hits me just like, holy crap. Like, yeah, no, that wasn't just like a night of us hanging out on our couch together. That we won a Juno that night. Like it was really cool. Yeah.
So how did that work? You guys because I know you guys have been very interactive with your fans over Twitch, just in general, over the past 6 months to a year, probably, right?
Yep. Since the lockdown in March last year.
Right, exactly. So then the Junos was also broadcasted live over Zoom.
Yeah, so what it was on all the CBC music platforms. So like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I think they maybe had a Twitch, but I might be wrong about that. Like everywhere on their website, straight up CBC Music. And it was everywhere except cable for the night that we did it. And then for the big night, the main night with, all the actual famous people on Sunday, then that was on cable. But also, again, same thing, streamed live on all of their platforms. So it was really, but yeah, they did all the logistics through Zoom, like breakout rooms and a million different, I can't even imagine what it must have been like from behind the scenes for them. Like, right. Way to go, Juno organizers. It was incredible. We always knew what was going on at every moment. We had a stage manager taking care of us the whole time. I think it was very close to what it would have been like if we were actually there, kind of getting led everywhere and that right. sort of thing. So yeah, it was really very, very interesting and very well done. And yeah, when they initially pushed it back a month or whatever, it was supposed to be in May, and then they pushed it to June. I can see why.
Right, because obviously it takes a long time.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah. I don't even think it was a COVID related thing. It was like waiting for Zoom to have the breakout rooms option, So
exactly. No, that makes a lot of sense. But I mean, totally. Picking up on something you said a moment ago, like, did it almost not sink in that you guys had won a major award? Since it was at home? Like, was that a factor?
A little bit, probably. Yeah. I think it would have been a different story if we had the actual statues in our hands.
Right. And you're up there. Yeah.
And then, because it's an obscure genre and category. So we probably would have been announced at like noon anyways, but it still would have happened. And then we would have had all the parties to go to afterwards. And, we would have been put into that little press room where you field questions from people in person, which we did do via Zoom, but I just think it would have been really different if we had been there in person, but not complaining.
No, totally. Hey, well, they have your number, so I'm sure they'll be calling you guys back.
Yeah, I hope so.
Totally. It must feel really good for you. To be getting back out there, because I know you guys have the tour coming up. It starts in Minneapolis, and it's with Ether Realm and Seven Kingdoms. You know, talk to me about maybe the feelings about now actually having that booked and sort of set in stone.
Yeah, very excited.
Yeah.
We've had these dates booked since like March of last year, because we were going to do a huge album release tour in fall of 2020, because the record was supposed to come out in June of 2020. And so, of course, we proceeded to release the record. It just got pushed back to August. But then, of course, the dates got canceled and rescheduled for spring, and then canceled again and rescheduled for fall. And then it was, for a while there, looking like maybe the fall dates wouldn't go forward either. So we were ready to cancel and reschedule, but thankfully that's not happening. And I think it's going to be awesome. A lot of our fans have reached out to us to let us know that we're going to be their first show back after COVID and lockdown and all that stuff. So
that's
I think
awesome.
every night's going to be a party. Yeah.
Man,
very excited.
It certainly should be, you know, I'm curious because, you know, now actually that things are opening up, I'm not going to be able to really ask this question anymore because it'll sort of not be as relevant, but sort of how hard did it hit you to lose live entertainment? Because I know some artists, it hit them really hard, and some artists, it wasn't as much.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, personally, I love going to live shows. I go out all the time. I live, you know, pretty much in the heart of downtown Vancouver, so it's kind of easy to walk to all the venues, and I miss it a lot. Not just being on stage, but watching my favorite bands perform, I've missed immensely. So it has really sucked. And when it first all happened, and knowing that we had this awesome record that we were so excited to share with everyone, ready to go, and we had all these amazing dates booked, like literally it was going to be a world tour. We were going to so many places we'd never been before, and we were just so stoked. And then to watch that all just disappear like that, it was very, very difficult. The first 6 weeks of lockdown and everything were pretty dark times for us. So it's really nice to finally get back to being able to say, yes, these dates are happening. The tour is happening. We're going to get to play live music again. But yeah, it's been difficult. And, you know, we did a live stream, but it was just not the same. It's really not even close. Yeah.
What sorts of things were you guys doing? Was it mostly just performing or talking or both?
We did like a full-on concert that we filmed with 8 different cameras. And yeah, and we tried to make it as much like a live show as we possibly could. And so we filmed it like from the pit and everything, and we're looking into all the cameras as if we were looking at our fans.
Did you guys go to an empty venue?
Yes, yeah, we
rented
cool. The Rickshaw, which is like the local metal venue here. And so they were super on board with it. They got a cut of all the ticket sales. So, you know, try to keep the venues alive.
Try to keep it even here.
Yeah. And so that was kind of like our big album release show. But for Twitch, we've just been like, I play video games. Grant and Andrew, our guitar players, they play music. They basically sit there and just kind of play whatever cover songs everyone suggests in the chat. We've played through the new album a million times on there. Andrew also likes to he's a producer. He does like synthwave kind of stuff and country and whatever he's into at the moment. Yeah, he does that live on Twitch. So the Twitch is a little bit more informal. It's just kind of us hanging out. It's a place for us to be with the fans, like we used to do after a show. Basically, when we were on tour, we aren't the kind of band that likes to hide away. We always would go out after the show and have a beer at the bar with everybody and chat and talk. And because we couldn't do that, Twitch was kind of our alternative to that. Yeah.
That's really cool. You know, I mean, it makes me think, you know, do you feel like there's maybe more connection with your fans in that way? Because they're not only seeing you guys in sort of in the ring, so to speak, like doing your profession, they also see other sides of you guys.
For sure. I mean, it's fantastic. And it's such an amazing community on Twitch. And because of Twitch, we also discovered Discord, which is kind of like this place where everyone can go to hang out after the stream. And Discord is amazing as well. And it's so, yeah, it's just kind of a cool place where we can all get to know one another, and they can see us as people, not just these celebrities or whatever. What I really don't think that we're celebrities, but you know, depending on the scene that you're a part of, that kind of thing. So it's really a fantastic way to keep in touch with everyone and to stay in like touch with what's going on. You know, what are the music trends that are happening? What's the merch that everyone's excited about? What kind of music videos are, you know, popping off right now? All that kind of stuff, which is, you know, also great for your business. So it's just, it's been, and like seriously, the music community on Twitch is insanely supportive, and they really picked us up after the whole, because we were on tour when COVID happened, and we were about $50,000 in the hole, hoping to make it back.
Wow.
And when the tour got canceled, of course, it was just 50,000 in the hole. So Twitch really helped with that.
Well, man, that's amazing really though. That's really good that they helped you with that. I mean, and you know, Twitch, I think I've definitely been sleeping on Twitch. I think I got to log on there every once in a while and check it out. Sounds like a good community.
It is, and it's so cool, and everyone is just super happy to be there. And if there's, you know, trolls in chat, they're out. We just have zero tolerance for that kind of stuff, as opposed to everywhere else on the internet right now where they kind of have free reign. It's just a really positive space. Yeah.
So in terms of coming back to concerts, what are your expectations sort of in September for getting back on stage? Like in terms of maybe crowd reaction, but also your personal reaction to the whole thing?
It's going to be electric. It's just going to be a really good time. I mean, we haven't performed in a long time, so we're going to be a little rusty, I think. We're getting back into it pretty hard now, jamming 3 times a week, and we'll, of course, start ramping it up again as we get closer and closer. Probably get to the point where we're jamming like every night in preparation, so that we are at our best for every single show. But we were talking about how strange it's going to be, because the first show was in Minneapolis, which was the first show that got canceled on the last tour. So it feels very much like we're picking up exactly where we left off last year. And yeah, we definitely did that on purpose. We wanted, you know, Minneapolis to be the first ones, but it's going to be our first night back. And for a lot of people, it's going to be their first night back as well. But then the next night, it's also going to be their first night back. And then the next night, it's going to be their first night back. You know, and so every night we're going to be like, all right, back on tour. But for everyone else, it's like it's their first show again. So
wow, that's a great point.
We get to experience that feeling every night on this tour. And sure, there'll be a lot of people that will have seen something else maybe. But the fact that we're touring in September through the US, there's some festivals and things going on in August, but not too much in terms of tours. So we could very well be most people's first concert back after everything. So it's just going to be wild. And I'm so excited, and I'm just not going to be able to get the smile off my face on stage. I guarantee it. Yeah.
It will be electric. It'll be crazy. And even if it's not, you know, their literal first one back, I think like the first 5 or more will be like the first back.
Totally. You know, and like all the venues are getting booked up like crazy. So you know it's going to be packed. It's like September, October, November. It's just going to be, all right, I got a show on Tuesday. I got a show on Friday and Saturday. I got a show next Friday and Saturday. You know, your schedule's just going to be packed. If you like to go to live music as much as I do. So I'm really
all the
really
free
excited.
Days just start to disappear all of a sudden. No, it's true.
Yes. Oh, it's going to be amazing. And I think everyone's going to be like, cheersing and maybe not high-fiving, high-fiving.
Air high fives, air pounds, it's all going around.
Like we still gotta, you know, be responsible, but let's party, right?
Exactly. So the best that we can. Unleash the Archers. What's the inspiration for that name? I usually don't ask that question, but this name really sort of intrigued me.
It's really funny because it was honestly months of debating between all the band members. We could not all think of a name that we liked, and so many cool names are taken. You know, you think of something and it's like, ooh, what about I don't know, Revenger? And it's like, yeah, no, that one's taken. It's like,
Google
really?
It, taken, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I actually know a band called that from back in the day. But anyways, so you will find them. And we all had our own ideas. Like Scott wanted some obscure literary reference, and Braden wanted like some, I don't know, heavy, like kind of super death metal-y kind of name. And I was just like, no, let's be like, I don't know, super epic and fantasy related. And we just could not, it was not happening. So finally we sat down and we were like, okay, we don't leave the jam spot tonight until we come up with a name. And we went through this huge Word doc that we had of every suggestion that had gone back and forth between us. And still at the end of it, no band name. Until finally someone was like, what about Release the Archers? And we were kind of like, how about something with a little bit more urgency, like Unleash the Archers? And of course, in my head, I immediately thought of Hero from Jet Li, that film. At the end, I'm going to spoil it for everybody. If you haven't seen it, sorry, where he dies with the Emperor letting loose like all his army, loosing their arrows. And it's just like, it literally is the arrows blotting out the sun and just like.
They unleash the archers.
Huge sky full of arrows. And I just thought of that and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And that was totally fine with me. I loved it. And everyone else was like, no, all right. And so that was it.
That's pretty badass though. Well, at least you guys were able to come up with something. Cause I always think about that. If I was to start a band, would I come up with the name before or after? It's tough.
Yeah. It's the same thing as like superheroes, like every name is taken.
Seriously, super. Okay, we're already off to a bad start if super is the first word.
I know.
Definitely a bad start. So the album artwork for the latest record was done by Adam Burke. Speaking of sort of fantasy, epic, I mean, this album cover, like it almost fits in with some of the more recent classics of metal and stuff. I'm curious about the cover.
It's the sequel to Apex, which we released in 2017. And Apex is very much a fantasy record. It's all about epic battles and that kind of thing. And this Abyss record was much more of a science fiction record. So it all takes place out in space and kind of still fantasy elements, but it's really like old school 70s science fiction. So that's really what I was going for with the album cover. I wanted it to look like it could have been a book on a shelf somewhere, So that was, and Adam does he paints everything. None of it is digital.
Wow.
He literally paints on a canvas and then takes a super high res photo of it. So we have that as the original as well, which is really cool. And so that when we saw his work for, I think it was Winds of Plague was the record that we saw that we really liked. We just loved his style, kind of like this wispy, book cover type style. So that was why we chose him. And then basically I just said, look, this is the scene from the album that we're trying to portray. It's the epic conclusion of the whole thing. The protagonist, the antagonist are meeting again for the first time after this huge betrayal from 50 years prior, and they're going to battle it out. And I just want the cover to really reflect the tone and emotion of the scene. So he did a killer job of that, just using my description and everything, and took direction really well. So that was really kind of what it was all about.
Wow, no, that's really cool. And I mean, he did an incredible job, sort of like futuristic almost elements, but also very old style elements mixed. I really think it's cool. And, I really like the first track too. I mean, before the instrumental dropped in Waking Dream, like before the bass drop hit, I was like, oh, I know this is going to be heavy. I'm like, they're working us up to it so good. And it did not disappoint. It was badass.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you.
Definitely. Like, what's it like making songs like this? Because these songs are quite multifaceted. It's not like, okay, we're just going to do like 2 sections and go home. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in these tracks.
Right. It was an interesting way that we did it because I really wanted the record to reflect the emotion of what was going on in the story. So what I did was I laid out each song as a chapter and kind of did a little descriptor and said, hey, this is track 1. This is what's happening in the story. This is how I want the listener to feel. This is kind of a song or a band or whatever, something, I would reference something saying this is kind of how I want it to sound style wise. And then I'd say, and this should be super heavy and dark and, whatever, that kind of thing. And then I sent that off to Andrew, who was doing the majority of the writing. And so he used that as a guide and would look at the description and say, okay, and come up with a riff, and then send the riff back to me and say, I've been thinking this riff for like track 6 or whatever. And then I would say, yes, that's perfect. Or maybe let's make it a little bit heavier. Or I'd say, you know what? It's cool, but it doesn't work for this song. Let's use it for this one instead. Or sometimes we just toss it out the window completely. And so we just kind of went back and forth like that the whole time. And we very much were keeping every other song on the album in frame of mind at the same time, so that we made sure that every song flowed properly into the next one, that there was nothing nothing was a jarring change or anything like that. And they all moved and flowed really smoothly. So there was points where we had like a cool riff, but it's like, well, this is track 4 and track 3. It doesn't sound right coming after that. So we need to come up with something else. And so we were very much involved together the whole time. Story and music, I mean, completely merged at all times. And I think it really worked, and we'll probably continue to write this way. Yeah. For the rest of time. I don't know.
I think it's so good. You know, like I think I was about 6 songs in roughly, and then one track came on and I was like, oh, this is really good too. I must have gone into shuffle or something. And then I looked and I was still on the album. So I was like, oh, like you're saying, not jarring transitions, but transitions that are nice and that it'll pull you into a different place, but it's not going to be like, you know, in a negative sense. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's really cool. I'm curious about you guys' collab with Cannery Brewing. I looked into this. Now, is it sauce or is it beer or both?
It's it's beer.
It's beer.
So there's a whole thing called Brutal North America, and it was created by the Vox and Hops Metal podcast, which is the brainchild of Matt McGachy from Cryptopsy. So he interviews people on his podcast and talks about heavy metal and beer. And so he's kind of like, let's do this huge collab between all these breweries across North America with metal bands across North America. So what he did was he found breweries that he considered metal breweries, because they were either started by metalheads or they embrace, you know, the metal way of life, or a myriad of requirements. And then he would find a band that was in that same vicinity and pair them together and make a beer together. And so we kind of released this little collection of Brutal North America beers. So he came to us and was like, hey, I want you guys to be a part of this, but I don't know any breweries in your area. And so, because he's all the way on the other side of the country. And so I said, oh, I know somebody. And
because there's so many in Vancouver. It's crazy. Like,
but I think he meant like person, like knows people at them.
Right.
You got a better chance of it working. Not most people don't really understand the world of heavy metal. We're all very tight knit, so we support each other in all aspects of life. So if you, if you're a brewery, you're not going to give a crap about it unless it's kind of, something that you're a part of. Is what we kind of figured. So it'd be easier if you knew someone at the brewery.
It's a much safer bet.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew the brewmaster at Cannery. Scott actually grew up with him, like grew up with him from very young age. So we were like, hey, we want to do this thing. And they were absolutely on board and came up with the North Wheat Pilsner, which is based on our cover song that we did of Stan Rogers' Northwest Passage. So it's like a French hopped wheat Pilsner. Is really good. And then the whole thing, Brutal North America, was sponsored by a hot sauce company. So the first 100 orders of the beer would get a free bottle of the hot sauce. I think it's called Heartbeat hot sauce. Yeah. But what's funny is that our streams, our Twitch channels, are also sponsored by a hot sauce company called Bravado Spice. So we're constantly rocking those guys. And then a hot sauce company was like a part of the Brutal North America thing. So yes, surrounded by hot sauce.
So that's why hot sauce was subconsciously in my mind when I'm thinking of you guys, because the listeners are probably like, where does the hot sauce come in? Okay. Yeah, this saves me.
What are you talking about? No, exactly. Definitely. Yeah. We're touting hot sauces all over the place all the time. So
that's the way to do it. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. And, I'll be watching for the performance videos and stuff, and just glad you guys are out on the road coming up here.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having us. Yeah. I guess just follow us on Bands in Town, and that's where we list all of our tour dates, so you can find out if we're coming to a town near you. It's probably the best spot for sure.
Big thanks to Brittney for coming on the show and chatting it up with Cassius. Congratulations again to them for winning their Juno Award. That's a big accomplishment, and I'm looking forward to seeing their next works, especially as the pandemic kind of eases out. Let's obviously cross our fingers, but it seems like many more bands are returning to live concerts, which is great. And she spoke about that as well. Joe, I'll let you comment on that.
Yeah, on their website, it's I checked. It says like September 1st they're on tour all the way through December, the rest of the year. Some in the States, and then the majority is in Europe, which makes a lot of sense for power metal. But yeah, I hope for them, because like I've been hearing a lot of cancellations, so I hope like that nothing happens to them. I know also our friends here that we've had on the show before, Immortal Guardian, are now on the road as well in Vegas and tearing it up. We also had Pop Evil that was here. I've been tearing it up for the last couple of weeks, so looks like things are going okay, in terms of shows. Let's hope it sticks.
Definitely. I share that same sentiment, and I felt like one tidbit from the interview that I found like really stood out to me was I mean, look, we're in a very digital age now. I'm not going to say she was open to talking about this, but her openness to talking about their success on Twitch, like you know what I mean?
And Discord,
it was pretty, and Discord and all these online streaming kind of platforms where you kind of just look, the viewer just watches the presenter in a very, like she said, informal approach, right? Like they're just chilling, playing video games, jamming out.
It's like an after show, if you want to hang out with the band after, it's like an after show in the back room. So yeah, it's cool, and I like that fact that she also said, they tried doing some live stuff. It's not the same, obviously, we all know that, but at least they gave it a shot, and one takeaway I liked, one thing I wrote here is the band names. Because I've been through that. Like with my, when I was younger in the bands and stuff. And it's like, I remember like every jam we'd be there for an hour just throwing names at each other, and nobody liked anything. Nah, that's cheesy. Nah, that's horrible. So I absolutely know how what they went through to get a name, because everything is taken, right? And it's, you can't, at a certain point, I realized a lot of names that were coming out were just like almost like random thoughts put together for some of these bands and stuff, so it's tough. So good luck if you're
a unique name though on their part. I feel like it's aggressive. It's like
it works.
There's some war battles behind that. Like,
well, it works for power metal because all it's all about that kind of stuff. Big soaring vocals over fast drum beats, crazy guitar stuff. And I listened, like, it's funny because it's been a few years since I really listened to power metal kind of stuff, but I listened to their album like a good 4 or 5 times, and it just goes like a good scotch, or like they were talking about some of the hops and stuff, it just goes down nice and smooth. I find the album, like,
they've got a good blend.
I was saying, production is killer, the songs are really good. They vary, they take you through a trip, because it's, I guess, conceptual a bit.
Right.
So, and it's not all just like bang on double bass, there's some slower moments, some more, melodic moments, but very, very good album. So deservedly so of the Juno. Why not?
So big thanks again to Brittney for coming on, and the entire band as well. We wish them the best moving forward and on their tour as well. So one last thing though, Joe, before we wrap up the episode, as we do every week, we have a few on this days, which of course today, August 27th, Friday, we'll bring you back to 1992 here. Okay, Joe?
Okay.
John Lennon's handwritten lyrics to the Beatles song "A Day in the Life" from Sgt. Pepper, which we mentioned earlier in the show, sold in an auction at Sotheby's, London for 100,000, I'm assuming US dollars, and 56,600 pounds. Pretty incredible, isn't it? Like, they're enshrined. They're forever enshrined, these people. Like, he could have written down anything. I might, you know what I mean? Yeah. I know this is the handwritten lyrics, so it has more of a sentimental and value to it, is what I was looking to say. But these guys can literally write down anything on a piece of paper and make money.
I just found just this morning before we taped, I actually read an article about Eddie Van Halen guitars because they're all going to auction and stuff. And there was one where it was a brown guitar before I think he became like Eddie Van Halen, known as Eddie Van Halen, and somebody found it on the website where you sell gear called Reverb, and the guy was asking for $20,000 for the guitar, you know, but he was saying like it didn't have the original neck. And the guy's like, well, the guy knows Eddie's stuff. He goes, oh, Eddie didn't use those type of necks, yada yada. So, anyways, he ended up finding out that this guy bought it a week earlier for $1,000. Knew that it was Eddie's guitar, a very hard to find one, and now is asking for 20 grand. And he told the guy, look, I don't want the neck. Keep the neck of the guitar. Just give me the body. How much you want for the body? So he ended up giving him 20 grand for the body, just the body of the guitar because it's Eddie Van Halen, you know. So these things are.
This made me think of something though. Yeah, it's nuts. It's off the charts, man. What people will do for a piece of memorabilia. You know the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Is it like, this is once again me not knowing. Is there like a museum? Is there any museum based? Yeah. So where's the biggest one in the United States?
I'm assuming, Ohio, as we learned last week.
So yeah, there must be these pieces that we're talking about, like off market, obviously, that are dedicated to the museum now, right? Like there must be some incredible pieces.
Oh, for sure. Pink Floyd, like all those legendary ones, they give, you know, they get some of the stuff and they sell, you know, they go. That's so cool. Auction.
I would love to look at. I bring that up because I was in Toronto this weekend. I went to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and what they can find and preserve and like repurpose, not repurpose. It's not repurpose. It's the actual thing, but you know, present to people, pretty crazy. So I could imagine, you know, hockey fanatics. Sports fanatics are in a league of their own. I can imagine what music diehards would do for pieces of like preserved memorabilia.
Especially with guys like John Lennon, Van Halen, like Prince. You know, it's like these are like the top of the top names. You know, that have been around, been household names for like 40 years. You know, so.
Yeah,
what would you like to like? I don't have the money, so I don't even think about like ever wanting one of these things. But is there something that you would go for? Like if you had the, you know, like as they say, FU money. If you had it, what would you go for?
Music related?
Music or sports or memorabilia, whatever you're into. I don't know what I would do. I had a conversation with my cousin who said he would go for a DeLorean from Back to the Future, that style of a car.
That's cool. Like, that's really cool.
You know,
honestly, I just have a huge. I'm a fanboy for Ace Ventura and Jim Carrey, so if I can get anything Jim Carrey related, maybe like The Mask, that'd be sick.
Jim Carrey.
Maybe Carrey. Like you're talking about like like something we could hold on to and hang on our wall or something.
I'd love to hang out with him because I just think I would be totally unsettled the whole time you're next to this guy. Like you just don't like Robin Williams, right? It was just like he's always on, you know. You don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. But what would you want? Like music related.
I see, like I said, I've never thought about it.
Can it be something as simple as like a guitar pick from someone who you idolized?
It would be man, I don't know. It's a good question that I asked, and I don't even have the answer to. But yeah, I guess something like a guitar or an amp or something that somebody used. You know, David Gilmour from Pink Floyd or something. You know, like I would definitely go if I had that kind of money, right?
If you are listening and something sparked in your mind, let us know. Drop it in the comments. What piece of memorabilia from a band, like an individual, something like that, would you want from like, to
movies or you know, like video game era, you know, like I have all my PlayStations. I've kept every single PlayStation I've owned. I even have my Nintendos. A couple of Nintendos. The first one I got from Japan way back in the day. So like I've kept those things, you know. But
I've played my fair share of video games and owned my fair share of consoles. I didn't preserve them though. I didn't keep them around. They kind of collected dust, and my parents got mad, so I couldn't. But I have had the PS1, the PS2, PS3, Xbox One, 360. The original Xbox, the 360, Xbox One, the Xbox Series X. Like you know, those are cool pieces too. Moving on, though, Joe, one more on this day, okay?
Yep.
Same day, actually. No wonder on this day. It has to be the same day. That was a brain fart there. So August 27th, but 2004, winners at this year's Kerrang Awards included The Darkness for Best British Band and Best Live Band, Best Band on the Planet Award. Did you read this already?
No, I'm reading it now as you're
Best
talking.
Band on the Planet Award went to Metallica in 2004. Pretty strong title for that award. Green Day were inducted into the Kerrang Hall of Fame, speaking of Hall of Fames. And the Lost Prophets won the Best Single for Last Train Home, and Best Album went to Muse for Absolution. So that's like a stacked little lineup they had there, Kerrang.
Yeah, no, Metallica, you know, in my younger days, I would 100,000,000% agree with like the best band on the planet, you know, but I grew out of it a bit. But I mean, Metallica's Metallica, they're awesome.
Can I ask you a question, Joe?
Yeah.
Like, what about a band makes you grow out of
I don't know. This is a good question, man. We should do a whole topic on this, because some bands like, you know, like Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd, you know, like I've just always liked those bands, you know. But let's say like Metallica, you know, the first 4 albums I was a kid, I was just like, wow, this is like, you know, God for me, basically, that band. And then I guess, like, you know, in the 90s, it just changed. They changed their style. I guess I just started going to more of the prog, metal, rock kind of stuff. It just sort of gradually went that way. But it's a good question. I don't know why. Because they came back with some heavier stuff again, and I thought it was good. But some bands, it's what it is. Dream Theater was the same thing for me, man. I was a diehard Dream Theater fan. But then for some reason, like, you know, I started, like, the last few albums, I haven't really paid attention as much.
Maybe it's just like your interest as an individual, your musical interest as an individual. Like, you had different stuff going on, different stuff that you were listening to that was of different genre, and then they kind of just fell to the side. Even though you respect what they did in the past, like that you loved, it didn't continue along that path for you.
Plus, it also depends, you know, can you keep up with everything? There's so much more bands, many more bands now, and so much stuff. So it's hard to keep up with everything that's going on, you know? Like, I grew up with a Maiden fan, but like, you know, I haven't listened to the last few Maidens, seriously, you know? I haven't really given it that much, but I mean, still for me, one of my all-time bands.
Exactly. They'll forever stay on your list. It's just that maybe you don't agree or you don't fall in line with their music like on a year-to-year basis.
It's like a video we had recently on with Dre the Music Man, The Power of Teen Memories. That's what it is. All that stuff was my teens, so that stuff stays with you, and that's like the stuff that marks you. And I guess that's why everybody always thinks the music they grew up with is the best. Right.
That's exactly, and it's the same thing with sports icons, and it's the same thing with video games. You know, like when I grew up, my prime days of video gaming was like 2010 when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 came out, and I thought it was the best game ever, right? And like still to this day, my friends group and I, like, we look back on those days as the best gaming period ever. But that's only because we were young kids, like you said, what do you call it?
Power of Teen Memories.
Power of Teen Memories. Like they're still producing Call of Duties. They're still producing games in incredible amounts today. It's just that you had those nostalgic memories that stay with you forever back in the day. But that's it.
Like I had one example for video games for me would have been Final Fantasy VII, the first edition when it came out for the PS1. I finished it, and it was probably the only Final Fantasy I actually was able to complete, and it became my favorite game of all time. I played the remake a few months back, and I got into it, but I found it was a little too childish, you know? Just give me the fight scenes. Don't give me these little, go find a rabbit, go find the gum over here, go do this. Like, no, give me the fight scenes, man. I'm here for the battles. So they should have an option where it's like, are you here to play and waste time, or are you here to
just get right down to the dirty business?
Yeah, that's it, you know?
Joe, this was a blast. This was a blast. It's always good catching up with you. To the listeners, to the viewers, hit that like button, subscribe button. We asked you to get us to 23K. We're currently at 23K. Next milestone is 25. Let's get to 25K on the SoundMojo channel. Aside from that, leave a comment if something that we mentioned today sparked an interest for you. And like we said at the beginning, look out for the SoundMojo community tab posts, which will be rolling out on a daily basis. And
the merch.
Look out. Let's send some support Cassius's way too in the comments. We hope he gets better. And of course the merch. Yeah, check that out in the description. It's very comfy, very nice material. And that is it. So look, guys, have a great week, end to your week, and have a good weekend. We'll see you next week for episode 37. Take care.